Okay, so I recently decided to start a video diary where I'm aiming to do a video every day for the main purpose of being able to understand myself a little better. I realised last night that I have an issue with communication, especially when I'm trying to talk to somebody face to face. It's almost as if, because I'm so aware of the other person, and I get very anxious, feeling that the other person's impatient, and so I kind of race to the point in which I'm trying to get at, and a lot of the time it's as if I lose a lot of my clarity when I'm speaking to other people. I can contemplate quite solemnly and very, very peacefully on my own. But when I try to communicate with somebody face to face, there's an anxiety that takes over, and I never actually manage to make the point in which I really try to. Right, darling. Come here. Yeah, so I'm going to be keeping this diary because I find that in this way I can talk very clearly and very openly at my own pace and sort of maintain my clarity while I'm talking, purely because there's nobody else around except for Millie. Yeah. So I've come to face a lot of things lately, especially about myself. And I realised that there was a lot of things that I set in motion in my life over the past couple of years. It was almost like I built my life on a really poor foundation. In fact, I was looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Not that I take psychology too seriously. Well, I try not to take it as the whole truth, but as a guideline, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I was looking at how at the top of the pyramid is where you have the creativity, spontaneity, and other things, spirituality. And I've tried to grasp those things before I have had any of the earlier requirements. So housing, food, just general comfortability, good relationships with people. So one of the things I've done is not run away from my life in Huddersfield, but gone back to my family, because I find that is a very important foundation, and re-establish myself here, and also prove that I can change in the ways that I've challenged myself to. And the best way for me to realise those changes is through my family, because nobody has stronger expectations of you than your family. And if you can change your family's expectations of you, then you're on the right track, I think. In terms of my art, I feel like that will follow naturally. My life was very patchy, and so was my artwork. I think my ideas and my passions will remain the same, but my motivation, my motivation was very, very, it fluctuated. And I feel like by taking a step back, much as I would with an art piece, if I'm doing an art piece and during the development it's not going right, take a step back to a point where you know it was good, and work from there. It's what I'm doing with my life. And I feel like by recreating the foundations of my life and getting myself where I want to be and who I want to be, my art will follow. Because I will always be an artist. I will always practice art, and my art will always mirror my life. And if my life is unsettled, then so will my art be. If I'm unsure about my own life, then I'm unsure about my art. But I'm well underway. And my aim is to, by September, have a new life ready with a strong foundation and some more direction. Yeah. I was thinking about something last night, which I was watching. It was a TV show hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, not Cosmos. It was something else that he did just before it, and I kind of remind well, in the show, he was talking about quantum physics and a certain type of particle called a quark, it's called a quark because when they were first discovered, they thought there were only 3 of them, but it turns out that there's actually 6, 2 types of each one. And the funny thing about quarks is they're always in pairs. And if you have a pair of quarks and you try to separate them, the more force you use to try and separate, the stronger the force which pulls them together. And should you manage to pull 2 quarks apart, the energy created through the force of you pulling them apart creates 2 more quarks connected to each of the separate ones. So there's never a single quark, there's always 2. And I was always very like that. It made me think a lot about myself and how I was very much like a quark. I always have to be with someone for validation. But then that's what makes my life so patchy, because I try to see myself through others too much and want to try and be a quark on its own. Although that example kind of makes it seem a little unachievable, but that's what I'm going for. Oh, I forgot the date today. It's Easter Sunday. I need to say it at the beginning of every video so that I can keep track, because I'm going to edit these and maybe make an art piece out of it. I don't know. This is the first time that I've ever really felt comfortable enough with myself to actually do something like this. I normally don't explore myself. It makes me feel very naked doing this. Very naked. But writing doesn't help me understand myself. I have dyslexia. I don't go down too well. But it works better than talking. I don't know why, I just don't talk to people very well. It seems that I can pretend to be. Well, I can come off as very confident and a very confident speaker, but Christ. If only I had control over half of what came out my mouth sometimes. Maybe if I could really, really talk to people the way in which I talk to myself in my head. But it's important for me to do this because even though it feels a bit weird, like I'm talking to myself, it helps. Helps me to know my own mind. Yeah. That's it.